that time. You know it's Tuesday and it's 8:13 in the morning, so you know it is time for Truth to Power with my man, attorney Michael Jefferson. What you got today, bro?
Good morning, Juan. Good morning, morning
Good
team.
morning.
Yesterday, we learned that the investigating authorities have obtained a search warrant for the car in which Stephanie Washington was shot. State's Attorney Patrick Griffin has also authorized the release of the body camera footage of the Hamden police officer, Devin Eaton, who was involved in the shooting. Terrence Pollack is the Yale officer who was also involved. I must say I am impressed by the swiftness of the release of this footage because, as you know, we usually have to wait months on end to view any evidence in police-involved shootings. As to the body cam footage, my guess is the footage will further enrage the community because the footage will only enhance what we have already seen with our own eyes. Police officers acting recklessly without provocation, endangering the lives of two innocent people. Thank God no one was killed. Unlike previous investigations of this nature that took months and sometimes even longer, I am confident this one should not take very long. But keep in mind, we have to exercise patience until the state police gather all the evidence. But let me say, given our history with law enforcement in this city and throughout this country, the black community's anger and distrust for law enforcement, unlike this shooting, is more than justified. So we will wait anxiously. But while we wait, I ask each of you to consider this. This past Sunday, 2 days ago, a 17-year-old black boy was shot at 1 o'clock in the afternoon right here in New Haven. A couple of days before the Yale Hamden police shooting, there were several other shootings involving young black males. There was no outrage. There were no marches. There was no meeting of the minds. There were no bullhorns hoisted by speakers calling for an end to the violence plaguing black communities all across this country. If black lives matter, then our lives should matter regardless of who the shooter is. Because I can assure you that the percentage of black people who are shot and or killed by other blacks far outweigh the number of black people shot and or killed by law enforcement officials. I get it. State-sponsored violence is totally unacceptable, to say the least. But our collective silence when it comes to the carnage, the bloodshed, the internal and continuous warfare in our community among our own is a betrayal to our values, our ancestors, and future generations. And it must end now. When I learned that the two officers involved in the shooting were black, I was not surprised, particularly since the shooting occurred in the heart of the black community and the occupants of the vehicle were black. Because as I said before on this show, and I'll say it again, black life and black property are not valued or respected to the same degree as white life and white property. In fact, it is rare to see such reckless behavior on the part of the police officers, white or black, in white communities, or when involving white suspects anywhere. But because we have been socialized to devalue black life, it should come as no surprise that black officers were involved. Let us be honest. When we examine the behavior of black people towards ourselves in less significant circumstances, we can clearly see how we devalue each other. Many of us hold true to this deep-rooted belief that most things good or of some value must be white. This is why many of us believe a white doctor is better than a black doctor. A white lawyer is better than a black lawyer. A white teacher or principal is better than a black teacher or principal. A white coach is better than a black coach. A white store is better than a black store that sells the same product. In short, we believe Mr. Charlie's ice is colder. And if I was to delve deeper into the abyss of the black psyche, I will tell you this. Our desire to embrace whiteness doesn't stop there. Millions of black people frown upon what are essentially African features, our features. We frown upon dark skin. We frown upon kiki hair. We frown upon full lips. There are black people from other countries who come to this country and do not want to associate themselves with black people born here because in their twisted minds, they believe by isolating themselves from us, they will be afforded a special status like a pink poodle by the dominant culture, seemingly forgetting one cannot escape his or her blackness in American society. All of this is what we call self-hatred. It is an embarrassing admission, but we can no longer hang the picture to hide the ugly stain on the wall. This shooting and the dynamic surrounding it offers us a unique opportunity to explore our own conscience, our own value system. It demands that each of us undergo genuine self-reflection. So I implore you, in your private moments, in your private thoughts, think about what has been said this morning and pass it on to the children in particular, because it is they who will inherit our legacy for better or worse. Before I close, allow me to offer this additional piece of advice. While I can never diminish the value of protests, rallies, or marching, it is essential that we recognize the value of strategic planning that can lead to long-term systemic change. It is not enough to rant and rave at individuals in power. We must organize so that we become the power in our community, or at the very least control the forces that govern our community. The powers that be know that at some point the protests will die down and the marchers will return to the comforts or discomforts of their own living space, and life will return to normal for better or worse. We cannot succumb to this age-old trap, this pitfall, this self-defeating arrangement. We must become politically astute, sophisticated, if you will, in terms of how we select and influence those who have power over us. What I am saying is very frightening to the powers that be, because we are a sleeping giant and they know it. The late great poet Langston Hughes once wrote, and I quote, "Negroes, sweet and docile, meek, humble, and kind, beware the day they change their minds. Wind in the cotton fields, gentle breeze, beware the hour it uproots trees." Brothers and sisters, friends of the community, that day is now. So let us uproot trees.
Can you please play that? Play that.
Fight the power! Fight the power! We got to fight the powers that be!
Attorney Michael Jefferson. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Juan.
Come on now.